So this week I have something extra special I want to talk to you about. When I say extra special, I mean hate-tastic.
Hate-tastic. That sounds wonderful.
You know what it is?
I have no idea.
Orson Scott Card.
Orson Scott Card.
I know.
What's so bad about Orson Scott Card?
There's a list. The number one thing that's awful about Orson Scott Card, though, is he's really horribly homophobic, terribly sexist, and a radical right-wing Republican.
Well, wait a minute. I have a question here. Why is that relevant? If he's a radically right-wing Republican, homophobic, whatever.
The problem is he's going to take a lot of the money that he's making from the Ender's Game movie and apply it directly towards hate speech and towards hate causes.
That's distressing.
It is. And here's the worst part about it. This would not be a problem if he was dead.
Wait. Now I don't understand.
Okay, we are willing to forgive most dead authors for just about anything. The worst example I can come up with this is one of my favorite authors, Mark Twain.
Mark Twain's awesome.
Everybody loves Mark Twain. Guess what Mark Twain hated? Native Americans.
All right. How much did he hate Native Americans?
He honest to goodness, called for wholesale genocide of all Native Americans, and he wasn't kidding around with it. He very, very seriously wanted to see every Native American wiped off the face of the planet.
That's pretty extreme.
It was pretty extreme, yet we think of him as being this very happy-go-lucky guy because, hey, he was all about blacks, and every now and then he was actually even halfway decent to Asians.
So how does this link back to Orson Scott Card?
We forgive Mark Twain because he's dead.
All right.
Because you know what? He's not going to use any money he made off of his books to go actually work on killing Native Americans.
Okay.
The problem is, Orson Scott Card, on the other hand, has actually said he wants to use the money that he's making off of this. He said he wants to use the money he's making off of these books to actively make sure that gays can't get married. He has called for them to just go ahead and commit suicide already. He actually advocates hate speech with his money.
Has he always been crazy?
He hasn't quite always been crazy. He's always been a little bit on the conservative side. But my understanding, and I'm trying to be sympathetic, but it's hard, is that he has a severely disabled son who was in a wheelchair, died at 17, and that when that severely disabled son was born, that just sent him off the deep end. And from that point on, he lived in crazy land.
So what could we possibly do?
Assassinate Orson Scott Card.
What can we do that's legal to counter the crazy?
I'm not 100% sure about that, to be honest. This is a very difficult issue for me because, on the one hand, the movie looks like it's going to be fantastic. It's got a great cast. It's a really good premise with Ender's Game. As much as people pause on that, before it was written, it wasn't something you saw a lot of.
All right, so I've got two quick things about Ender's Game, right? The first one is that I agree. When it was first created, the idea of using video games to train children to be incredibly efficient tacticians in the battlefield, yeah, that was really, really innovative back then, right? The thing is that
That was the 80s?
beyond that, and again, it is a product of its era, but if I see another white male privilege, you are the chosen one, male fantasy, shoot me in the head right now.
I agree with you there. There are going to be some problematic aspects to it, but I think they're going to be able to strip a lot of that away with good casting and make a genuinely good science fiction movie. And here's where my difficulty comes in. Do I punish, by not seeing it, all the other people that made this movie just because this one guy's going to do something hateful? I'm leaning towards yes, to be honest. But do they deserve that?
There's a really distressing thing here. So you said that his expressed purpose was to take the money he makes off his books and ostensibly the movie and create foundations that promote horrible things.
Yes.
There's where we're hosed. Because he dies, the foundation continues.
I hadn't even thought of that.
So,
Are we back to assassinating Orson Scott Card?
but you see that doesn't fix it.
That's true. Because
What you do then is you've martyred, well, aside from the fact that it's illegal, we don't assassinate people on fan service. Aside from being illegal, it turns him into a martyr.
That's
It martyrs
true.
him.
That's true. Do you have a good solution to offer?
Well, Scalzi, John Scalzi, right?
Yes.
Really, really intelligent author type person, and he's really sensible, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he uses his power for
For good.
right?
On a regular basis.
So really what we have to do, I mean, instead of calling for assassination, like, there's blood on your shirt. Instead of calling for assassination, what we need to do is we need to fight evil with good. I know that sounds...
So we need to put John Scalzi and Orson Scott Card into a like Thunderdome and make them fight?
Get John Scalzi to start the John Scalzi Foundation?
So John Scalzi, that's our call for you. Please fight against Orson Scott Card and his hate speech by starting some sort of pro-positive foundation, whatever you want to call it. Whatever, for example, is a good name. I understand that's the name of your blog. And try and promote positive, good, happy things. Because We can't let this guy become a martyr. We can't let this guy use his money to promote hate and then take that hate and create a foundation that will outlast him.
Institutionalizing hate's just an awful, awful thing.
It is.
Coming up on the drop zone, Cap.
You do anything fun Saturday night?
Well, all the guys in my barbershop quartet are dead, so no, not really.
You know, if you ask Kristen out from statistics, she'd probably say yes.
That's why I don't ask.
Too shy or too scared?
Too busy. Was he wearing a parachute? No. No, he wasn't.
I joined S.H.I.E.L.D. to protect people.
Captain.
To build a better world sometimes means tearing the old one down. And that makes enemies. Are you ready for the world to see you as you really are? Look out the window. You know how the game works. Disorder, war. All it takes is one step.
We're gonna neutralize a lot of threats before they even happen.
Thought the punishment usually came after the crime.
S.H.I.E.L.D. takes the world as it is, not as we'd like it to be.
This isn't freedom. This is fear.
You need to keep both eyes open.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out? Your work has been a gift to mankind. You've shaped the century. And I need you to do it one more time.
Gear up. It's time.